Now Mr. Encounter answers the call. Now Mr. Encounter answers the call. Calls from various artists, unknown artists, known artists, repetitious artists, artists of good repetition, great repetition, artists of foundations, artists, foundational artists, artists of grounded works, foundational works, legends of artists, artists of legends, legendary artists, musicians of all kinds. And Mr. Encounter now answers the call. Record label from all over, everywhere, anywhere. Mr. Encounter answers the call. The phone is ringing. The phone has been ringing. The phone is on the hook and it's ringing. Mr. Encounter answers the call. The music industry opens up. The music industry doors flung open. The music industry doors flung open. The music industry's doors flung open. The doors of the music industry is wide open, kicked open, spread it open, pushed open. The doors of the music industry is gently open, nicely open, decently open, respectedly open. The doors of the music industry is graciously open, respectfully open, embracively open, widely open. The doors of the music industry. Mr. Encounter walks through, walks in, 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 walks through. The studio call. This is the studio room, the music industry studio room, the music, the industry, and the room, and the studio, the music industrial studio room, the music industries studio room, the music industrial studio room, the music industries studio room, the music industrial studio room, the scientific and the music industry studio room, the scientific MD musical industries studio room. Mr. Encounter. Tell him that Mr. Encounter is in the room. Go tell him that Mr. Encounter is in the room. Go tell him that Mr. Encounter is in the room, is in the music room, is in the industries room, is in the lyricist room, is in the laboratorial room, the scientific room, the recording room, the recording room, the recording room, the recording room, the creative room, the creative room, the creative room, the creative room. Mr. Encounter is in the room. Go tell him, tell him, tell him, tell him. Go tell him, tell him, tell him, tell him. Go tell him, 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 tell him. Go tell him, tell him, tell him, tell him, tell him. Go tell him, tell him, tell him, tell him. Go tell him, 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 tell him. Mr. Encounter is in the room, is in the studio room, music room, musical room. In life itself, yeah. In life itself, yeah. Encounter. Welcome to the works of Mr. Encounter. You're seeing the works of Mr. Encounter again and again and again and again and again and again and again. That's because there's an importance. If you listen to each video clip says something different, as well as repetitiously repeating the slogans of Mr. Encounter, repetitiously sloganizing the slogans of Mr. Encounter, repetitiously endorsing the slogans of Mr. Encounter, repetitiously repeating the slogans of Mr. Encounter. Each video clip says something different besides the well-known, consistent, continual repetition of the slogans of Mr. Encounter. Listen to the videos all the way, taking the videos all the way, see the videos all the way, Enjoy the videos all the way. This is one section or one stream, one flow, one thrush of Mr. N-COUNTA'S musical industrial work. Again, this is one thrust, one great thrust and streams and flow and existence of Mr. N-COUNTA'S musical works of the music, works of the industry. One existence, one created existence by Mr. N-COUNTA. If you're liking this, if you're feeling this, if you're loving this, if you're with this and for this and onto this and by this, if you're giving into this, giving to this to all the fans, to all the music fans, music lovers, to all the audiences, and to all other fellow artists of every industry, any industries, whatever industries, music, welcome, and or affiliates with music, and or has the affiliation of music. Welcome. Endorse Mr. N-COUNTA'S musical creation that he has been creating and working on diligently. Endorse it. Let it go throughout all the industries, throughout all the music industries. Let it go and spread throughout all the music industries. Knock on every music industry's doors and tell them that Mr. N-COUNTA is here. Knock on every music industry doors of every music industry and tell them Mr. N-COUNTA is here. And behold the works of Mr. N-COUNTA. See the works of Mr. N-COUNTA. Experience the creation or the creative works of Mr. N-COUNTA. Let it go. 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 Tell him. Mr. N-COUNTA says, one up.